there's just simply no place for something like that in our country, because as soon as someone can implement a law that bases itself on the Quran or the Bible or anything, as a matter of fact, any religious text or belief, that's when we start skewing ourselves into a theocracy. And that's not what we currently are. And as I said, Sharia law is based on the Quran. And typically, the people that make their way over here from Muslim countries usually do so in fear of persecution or just civil unrest in their own countries that are based on that Sharia law or the Quran. And it's kind of counterintuitive to leave that country where those beliefs are central and convert your new country into those beliefs. And also, many Europeans have felt the pressure as Muslims have begun to push for an Islamic caliphate, and as well as the Sharia law within the European Union. And they have also taken to the streets and rioted and protested, and it's a very difficult thing to deal with because we don't want we want to be tolerant of any religion. And another big problem with enabling such massive influx of immigration without consequences or without thinking things through is that many immigrants die on their way to their destination, or when they get to, say, the US or Europe, they end up living in poverty. And currently there are 30,000 migrants, mostly Haitian, that have set up a city of tents in Del Rio, Texas. And as I mentioned before, the Venezuelans I've talked to, they tell me a lot about not just their culture over there, but the travel, the the path they went through to get here, and how it was really rough, and they had to see really bad things, especially through the Darien Gap in Central America, which is very dangerous, and it's one of the few ways to get to the U.S. from South America. And the last administration really pushed a lot of people to make that journey through there. And from 2020, I only found facts from 2021 and 2022 where the Darien Gap claimed 138 lives. And from what the people from Venezuela have told me is that place is, it's not just dangerous from a geographical standpoint, but there's many gangs there. There's a lot of sex trafficking, human trafficking, and it's not necessarily our fault when we enabled the open borders because those people chose to go that route. But it's kind of like a side effect, and it's not just there. There's also many illegal crossings in Europe through the south, through the Mediterranean Sea, and a lot of people end up dying through that journey as well. And here's where I disagree with current immigration policies, where I kind of look at the extremes and say, hey, that's a little too much. So So before Trump's re-election, he promised to prioritize the deportation of illegal criminals, but ICE, under his and his cabinet's recommendation, have begun to take extreme measures to deport anyone who's illegal, and even anyone who may appear to be illegal, which, as of right now, is primarily Hispanic people of Hispanic descent. And a big issue is that ICE has taken thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people into custody, of which 65% are non criminals and 95% of those in custody are non violent. And yes, they may be criminals without committing crimes just by the simple fact that they're here illegally, but some of these people just had to wait a long time to get in this country, and they did so decades ago, 5 years ago, and they're here working hard. They're making a living. They're supporting our economy, and I just don't think it's fair to come in and just take them away. I think this is where I'd like to see a reformation, to where if we have all these illegal people here, instead of spending all this money trying to deport them, which is very expensive, we could try to find a way to legalize them, to make them citizens or give them a green card, instead of just saying, hey, you're illegal, and by that fact, you should be out of here. I just don't think that's right at all. And the ICE has also detained a total of, not a total of, but more than 170 U.S. citizens. And some of them have been detained for days. Some have been beaten by ICE agents. Again, mostly because they they have a they have a Hispanic or Latino appearance, which is understandable because that's the majority of people that are here illegally. But to be treating our own citizens like that just isn't right, and it's counterintuitive to the entire movement of trying to deport dangerous criminals. And to wrap it up, a lot of industries are projected to suffer from a loss of good workers, which some of these industries are construction, agriculture, and hospitality. Like I previously mentioned, a lot of these people being deported have no history of crime, and they support our industries, our economy, and there should be better steps taken to make sure these people become a part of our country.